Today is Monday, Parashah Devarim. We're starting a new book this coming Shabbat, the fifth book of the Torah. This fifth book, the book of Devarim, was said by Moshe Rabbeinu. It was a long discourse that he started on the first day of Shvat, on Rosh Chodesh Shvat, and for 5 weeks he gave this long discourse, which is the book of Devarim, all the way to the 7th day of Adar when he passed away. This book is in a way his last will and testament. He's telling Am Yisrael they're about to enter the land of Eretz Yisrael, and he's telling them to be careful with the pitfalls, not to be overly confident that they will not be influenced or act in a way that is improper, and that's why he's reminding them of all the times during the 40 years in the desert that they sinned, they had shortcomings, they were not always perfect. But the way that he does it is in a very, very sort of diplomatic and very careful of how he rebukes them. Because after all, it's a rebuke. Remember how you were not totally perfect. You sinned in these and these other places, but he doesn't do it in a direct way. He mentions geographical places by way of hint, to be very careful not to embarrass them and to hurt their feelings in a way. Because yes, we have a mitzvah to correct someone and to rebuke someone, to reproach someone when he does something wrong, but we have to be very careful of how we do it. Pasuk says, you have an obligation to correct someone when he does something wrong, but you have to do it in a way that is not hurtful. It should be done with love, with compassion, and really not to show him that you're better than him in terms of one-upmanship, but rather out of real, genuine concern for his betterment and for him to be a better person and to do the right thing in the future. So how you do it is with love and with an approach that is not hurtful or embarrassing. Not to do it in public. If you do it more in a private discussion, in a way that shows that you really care for the person. So here, in the case of Moshe Rabbeinu, he's speaking to all of Am Yisrael, and he's telling them by hint to be careful of the pitfalls and not to be overly confident, because a person can fail in certain situations, and if you remember mistakes of the past, then you avoid the same mistakes in the future. Also an interesting thing in this parashah is always read the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. Or if Tisha B'Av happens on Shabbat, it's read on that Shabbat, as the fast is postponed to Sunday. And one of the words in this parashah is the word actually that begins the scroll of Lamentations, Megillat Echa, that we read on the day of Tisha and on the night of Tisha. And the pasuk says, "Echa esa levadi torhachem u'masa'achem verivchem." So Echa is how can I alone carry torhachem u'masa'achem verivchem? You're being contentious with each other, your burdens, you're quarreling, because Moshe Rabbeinu is saying there's too much fighting and wanting to, I'm right and you're wrong. And if somebody had, as she explains, if somebody had a court case, a legal proceeding with someone, if he saw that his litigant his rival would be winning, would be prevailing, he would ask for more time to bring more witnesses and more proofs, and not to give up. In other words, not to give up even one iota of what is coming to him. That kind of being strict with the other people, that kind of being litigious and to be contentious and to be trying to always get what's coming to you, and that quarreling is something that is not a good thing, and it's something that Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, how can I carry all this being contentious and quarreling with each other? And the word Echa hinting also to some of the trouble that happened before the destruction of the temple, where we have Megillat Echa that was written by the Navi Yirmiyahu, by the prophet Yirmiyahu, that speaks also that Yirmiyahu, as a prophet, also rebukes Am Yisrael for all this infighting, and after all, the sinat chenam, the hatred in vain, and the arguing and quarreling, and the lack of love and unity amongst them is what brought the destruction of Beit HaMikdash. So this parashah being read just before the day of Tisha B'Av, because Tisha B'Av will be next week, is reminiscent of these aspects that we have to be very, very careful with. So as Moshe Rabbeinu says, Echai sa levadi torchachem u'masa'ichem u'masa'achem v'rivchem, is a lesson for us to be more forgiving and more tolerant and more patient with others, and not to always demand every little thing that's coming to us, but to be forgiving is a great quality that will also help to bring Mashiach. B'mera b'yameinu, amen. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.